Meanwhile, is demanding more transparency in real time from America's spy community when it comes to Putin's war crimes. Why? Well, let's ask a member of the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Krishnamoorthi. Congressman, the House Intelligence Committee now asking the U.S. intel community to declassify information on possible war crimes committed by Russia in Ukraine. Help us understand how this information could deter Russia from further atrocities.
Well, I think that the fact that Putin is now in a stalemate on the battlefield on a lot of fronts in Ukraine means the possibility that he might use chemical or biological weapons and continue with the indiscriminate, in my opinion, intentional bombings on civilians. And I think that unveiling potential plans might help to discourage them from going down that path as more people mobilize to basically oppose Moscow in its war plans. But also it's important to make sure that we bear witness to what's happening in Russia and making sure that whoever has commanded this, including Putin, be held accountable.
Let's talk about that second piece, accountability. What are the challenges of doing that, of holding Putin accountable for his actions?
Sure. It will take time. But remember, in the Balkan Wars, we never thought that the people who committed war crimes in that particular conflict would be held accountable, but eventually they were. And certainly in this particular instance, the intelligence community has access to certain information that I believe needs to be revealed to the world, obviously done in a way that would protect methods and sources of collecting that data, but it would reveal to the world exactly how atrocious the attacks have been and, sets a record for people to follow and basically use to build a case against Putin and others down the road.
Congressman, we are looking for glimmers of hope. We all are. Today, there may have been when Ukraine said 2 humanitarian corridors had been agreed upon, including one from Mariupol. My question, I guess, is how then can the U.S. help establish further escape routes to get Ukrainians to safety?
Yeah, I think you're right to be, and for the audience to be slightly skeptical of the Russians. I have yet to see a humanitarian corridor actually be a corridor or be humanitarian, because the Russians sometimes bomb those corridors, and then the Ukrainians have to tell people do not use those corridors for further escape. I think at this point, perhaps there has to be the international community helping to potentially police some of these corridors if that can be done in a way that doesn't entangle us in the conflict. Of course, that is obviously a very difficult task.
Right, that is the challenge we keep circling back to. Pope Francis stepped up his pleas for peace talks today, tweeting, quote, "We need to reject war, a place of death where fathers and mothers bury their children, where men kill their brothers and sisters without even having seen them, where the powerful decide and the poor die." Congressman, what's it going to take to bring this war to an end?
Unfortunately, I think Vladimir Putin only responds to brute force, Alicia. And I think that is exactly what he has met on the battlefield in Ukraine. The Ukrainians have mounted a more courageous, stiffer resistance than anybody possibly could have anticipated. I think that as we provide more armaments, and I think that we need to rush more surface-to-air missile systems, more javelins. I think we should help facilitate more fighter jets going into Ukraine. And I've done this on a bipartisan basis with others. I think we can help to tilt the balance and really push Putin out of pockets of the country and slowly expel him from the country. I think that's the only way forward right now.
Congressman Krishnamoorthi, thank you so much for being with us.